What's going on, everyone? Welcome to my channel. In this episode of Financial Tips in Under 5 Minutes, we're going to be talking about budgeting made simple. How do you make it easy so that you don't dread doing it? That means that your expenses are divided into 5 categories, which makes it very easy to understand. So the first category is needs, then there's wants, and then there's savings and debt repayment, and then finally, there's investing. These are things that are not essential to your survival, but they enhance your quality of life. This category is critical to your financial well-being because it helps you build your wealth. This category is important for growing your wealth and building passive income streams. Investing can be done through various means such as stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate. However, it is important to note that investing carries risks and it is crucial to conduct thorough research or seek professional advice before making any investment decisions. In terms of the percentage allocation, it's recommended to allocate 10 to 15% of your portfolio towards investing. So here's what I want you to do. Look at the categories that we talked about today and reflect on your current spending habits. Do you feel like you're spending too much or too little in each category? And if you found that you're spending too much in a certain category, what are you going to do about it? Are you gonna find a cheaper way to do it, or are you gonna eliminate it altogether? So if you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends and family. And also please hit that like button because that tells me that you appreciate the work that I'm doing here. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media at my social media handle. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I hope you're enjoying your journey towards financial freedom. So anytime you earn an income, a portion of that income should go directly towards savings and paying down debt. Now I prefer to pay down high interest rate debt first because that's costing you money. But if you have an emergency fund, you want to make sure you contribute to that as well. This category is non-negotiable. If you're spending less than 20% on this category, you're not saving enough. So things like dining out, entertainment, shopping, vacations, hobbies. So I have a question for you. What would life be like if you didn't spend any money in this category at all? So not spend any money on dining out, entertainment, shopping, vacations, hobbies. What would that look like? Would you be completely miserable? If the answer is yes, then you're probably spending too much on this category because if you're miserable, you're not living your life to the fullest. The idea of this category is to add value to your life, not to be a source of unhappiness or stress. So if you're spending more than 30% on this category, you're spending too much. So you're going to have to look at your expenses and decide where you can cut back. Now, before you start cutting back, I want you to ask yourself this. Is there a cheaper way to do this, or is it a complete elimination? So for example, instead of going to an expensive restaurant, maybe you go to a less expensive restaurant. Instead of going on an all-inclusive vacation, maybe you do a road trip. Instead of buying new clothes, maybe you shop at thrift stores. So you want to make sure you stay within that 30% range. But again, this is going to be different for everybody. Some people may spend more, some people may spend less. Just make sure it's adding value to your life and it's not causing you any stress. And then within each of those categories, there is a percentage breakdown. So 50% is allocated towards needs, 30% is allocated towards wants, 20% is allocated towards savings and debt repayment. So now that we know the percentages, let's dive deeper into each category. So you don't find yourself constantly stressed out because you trying to balance your life. So the reason why I put it in this order is because typically your largest expense will be your housing. So for me, that's my mortgage. For you, that might be rent. So whatever your situation is, just look at what your largest expense is. Now I don't want you to think that just because you own your home, that you can spend more money in this category. Because if you take that approach, you're just setting yourself up for disaster. Because even though I own my home, I still have to pay property taxes, I have to pay insurance, I have to maintain the property. So you still have to factor in all those additional costs. And one thing I really want you guys to take away from this video is to not be house poor. And you can definitely be house rich, but cash poor. So just because you own your home doesn't mean that you should spend all your money in this category. You want to make sure you leave some room for everything else, including wants and savings and debt repayment and investing. But with needs, you want to stay in that 50% range. If you're spending anything over 50%, you're going to have to look at your expenses and see where you can cut back. Because remember, this is the foundation of your budget. It's the base. So if you don't get this right, everything else is going to fall apart. And you have all these different financial obligations, and you just need a way to make sense of it all. And so let's talk about how to embrace the 50-30-20 rule to help guide you in building your budget. Okay, so right away, 50-30-20, what does that mean? So first, needs. These are things that are essential to your survival. Things like housing, utilities, groceries, transportation. Now let's move on to the second category, which is wants. All right, let's move on to category number 3, which is savings and debt repayment. All right, let's move on to the final category, which is investing.